Good evening and welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Jake Gordon and Alex Lord. Yesterday, the Braves did something that even the most optimistic believer in all of any sport, like this is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen in baseball. They called up AJ Smith-Shawver, who we've talked a couple of times on this show, and we've raved about him. You know, we said it's a possibility that he could come to the majors this season. I don't think anyone had him coming to the majors in May. Let's just talk about this ride. The guy has only pitched 110 major league innings or minor league innings, only 110 professional innings. A couple years ago, he was in high school. He just became a full-time pitcher 3 years ago, and now he's being called up to the majors as a 20-year-old. He'll be the youngest prospect or youngest player in all of the majors. It's one of the most I've never seen it before. I've never seen it before. And the Braves have never been hesitant. They'll send guys up, rocking them up through the system. We've seen it with Michael Harris. We've seen it with Spencer Strider. We saw Vaughn Grissom skip AAA. This guy has, 19 innings above AA, pitched at 20 years old, and now he's on the Major League roster. The plan is for him to pitch out of the bullpen. But they also said, listen, he's next in line for a start. I'm just in awe. Like, I'm in awe that this happened that fast. I was optimistic that it was a possibility. Even at the beginning of the year, I was like, this kid, if everything goes the right way, might make it up in, like, September. Like, a September call-up, gets a few innings, gets a little work when the division's already in hand or whatever. Nobody could have predicted this.
Yeah, it is funny because the two times that we've talked about him, I think both times I've said, yeah, well, he's probably not going to be up. Like, they're not calling him up. Like, for a while at least. And then before the show's even released, a couple hours later, he's already been called up again. But yeah, it's just it just speaks to the Braves' development. I mean, the fact that they just took this kid who was obviously a freak athlete, committed to play quarterback in baseball at Texas Tech, and they've already got him in the bigs. Is he going to stick? Is he going to have success? I don't know, but I really hope he does because it's going to be cool to watch him.
Yeah, a combination of he's just sick at what he does. His stuff is unreal, and the Braves' bullpen woes. I mean, Luque was just horrible. Jake said it yesterday about what he had 76 pitches in one inning. I mean, that's just horrendous stuff. It's like almost unbelievable. I looked at that stat like 3 or 4 times thinking I misread it somewhere. But, yeah, back to Smith-Shawver. Guy's unreal. This is the same path that they took Spencer Strider on, not, how aggressively they moved him through the farm, but he came out of the bullpen and then started to make a couple starts, and then the rest is history. If I don't see that happening with Smith-Shawver, just because the rotation is so crowded when everybody is healthy this year, who knows? I mean, Max Fried's not going to be back to the All-Star break. We don't know if Kyle Wright's going to be back. Optimistically, September, I think it was. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities we get to October baseball and Smith-Shawver's in the rotation. That would be an unreal climb.
Well, I don't think it's – I mean, listen, yeah, I can't guarantee success, but I think that's almost the plan. Like, they truly – like, they would not be bringing this kid up if they don't think – like, they have other options. They could have gone to Danny Young. They could have found someone on the waiver wire. Just because they decided to DFA Luque didn't mean they had to go to Smith-Shawver this early. Like, they clearly view him in the same light as that they felt about Spencer Strider a year ago. And I just want to say, like, people will be like, oh, well, we saw Spencer Strider do this. No, we didn't. Like, Spencer Strider, unbelievable pitcher. He came out of college. He pitched a lot more in the minors. He went from high to the majors in the course of a whole season. Like, this is not even comparable to Spencer Strider. Yeah, he did, go through 3 levels. But Spencer Strider made his MLB debut at the end of the season and pitched like a couple innings and didn't make the playoff roster. Like, they're putting Smith-Shawver out there to pitch, I'm guessing, some high leverage situations. I know they might not throw him into the fire right away. But listen, if he has a little bit of success out of the bullpen, whether it's in long relief or whatever, like, he's going to start pitching in big moments, just like we saw with Spencer Strider last year out of the bullpen. And listen, I'm optimistic about the rotation, but we still don't know if Michael Soroka is all the way ready. And if Michael Soroka has a bad outing next time, if he has a bad outing, like just a really bad one, he very well could find himself out of the rotation and back in AAA. All of a sudden, you need to start. Jared Schuster has about it.
I was just about to say Dodd, Schuster.
Yeah, he's next man up. And I think the plan, realistically, is probably for him to take one of those spots, because I don't know if they trust Schuster, those other 3 guys. And he pitched really well his last time out in Gwinnett, 7 innings, 2 runs, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts. He's a strikeout maestro. His fastball sits 98 with 20 inches of run. It's just it's an unhittable pitch. It's like they call Spencer Strider's pitch a unicorn pitch, his fastball, because it just rises up and it like just goes above your bat. This is like a very similar fastball in terms of movement, even though it's more horizontal. His slider's nasty. He's really a 2-pitch guy, but he's featuring a curveball this year, which he kind of went away from last year. He throws it a little bit, and his changeup needs some work. But those 2 pitches out of the bullpen will play. But we've seen with Strider, if they're dominant enough, they can play out of the rotation as well.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if at a certain point the Braves are going to change the way that some of these teams think about development and things like that. I'm not saying, it's just something that's going to happen overnight. I'm not saying Smith-Shawver is technically just guaranteed to be, a Strider-esque type of guy to where, it's revolutionizing things. But it would be very interesting. Like, let's say he comes out and he's just absolutely dominant, like gets like Rookie of the Year votes, like he just goes nuts. Teams are probably going to have to start taking a look at what the Braves are doing and being like, well, they'll probably get mixed results, but work with Harris, kind of worked with Grissom. I worked with Strider. If it works with Smith-Shawver, it's going to be an interesting conversation.
I just think it's more about the development of the Braves in general. Like, I don't think a lot of other teams have this luxury because they don't have players that go from point A to point B in their development this fast. Because, like, listen, I say it all the time. Organizations win championships, and this is what I love about baseball, from top to bottom. Like, what happens in A ball matters. What happens in high A ball, double A, like that, all that stuff matters. So you win with that.
Yeah, I saw something pretty crazy. Just putting how young this kid is in perspective, that he wasn't even born by the time Jesse Chavez signed his first major league deal, which is just unreal. They had a picture of them together on the bench chatting it up. Such a cool moment for the kid. I can't imagine being 20 years old, being around the best. I mean, the Braves have, 3, 4, 5 of the best players at their position, or arguably at their position. Got to be an unreal experience for him coming all the way up. I saw the interview with him, and he just looks like a fresh-faced 21-year-old. He's got some facial hair, but you could just tell he's just so green around the grills. I can't wait for him to make his debut. I guess they started putting those debut patches on their uniform. I thought that was a really cool part of him coming up to the Braves. Just super excited for the kid. This is awesome. I mean, I know the Braves are in a rut, but this is one of those bright moments that, we all can be happy about.
Yeah, I think Braves fans, it's kind of funny because this kind of happened last year with how bad the Braves were playing going into Memorial Day. And it's like, oh, we got Michael Harris. Like, we got something to be happy about. Now you get Michael Soroka and AJ Smith-Shawver in back-to-back days. And it's like, yeah, everything sucks. Like, there are some bright spots. Bryce Elder, we can talk about him in the next segment. He was awesome. He's been awesome. But these are the kind of things you get excited about because when you talk about what can bring the Braves a championship, if you get one of Michael Soroka or AJ Smith-Shawver pitching up to their potential coming down the stretch, and you add Max Fried back in there, and God knows if you add Kyle Wright back in there and he starts to look the same. I mean, those are things to be excited about. Like, that's why I keep saying it's May, bro. It's May. Relax, because if these guys start playing well, it's going to be really hard to beat this team because the offense is not going to stay this bad for that long. Like, they're just not.
That's
Austin Riley's heating up. That's just I can't remember. I think Chase, it might have been you that said it, but no matter what you do in May, good or bad, it really doesn't matter. If you watch the 2021 Braves, I don't know how you don't know that by now. I guess you
watched last year's Braves.
Yeah,
we were like 500 at this point of the season, I think. And then Michael Harris comes up, Spencer Strider gets in the rotation, and we've become the hottest juggernaut in baseball. If we don't get injured, I still say to this day, if Max Fried and Spencer Strider don't get injured, we're playing the Astros in the World Series. And I think we would have given a better series because we kind of have their number.
Yeah, you just must have goldfish brain if you think that anything that happens right now matters.
I love watching Snit's post-game interviews after a terrible game. One of the worst games I've ever watched. Didn't watch it. And he's,
you're lucky.
He goes, he just, it happens. It happens. I just love him. Yeah. I love how he's just so casual.
And we're going to talk a little bit about more of that game and more of the struggles, but you are very lucky you did not have to watch it. And that's exactly what I can lead into this break. We are going to talk about the Braves struggles, whether the sky is falling in Atlanta.